So after having these pop-up shacks for about 20 years, I had my first mouse problem. I had a mouse get into this part of my 650 here and get them two holes, this big one up here, a couple other small ones. I've hemmed and hawed about what I'm going to do to try to fix these, and what I landed on is I bought this repair patch panel from Eskimo. This has a couple patches of this fabric. So I think what I'm going to try to do is just cut this out and sew it on here the best I can. And the inside is a gray interior. I looked for a gray fabric that was similar to this and I couldn't find it, so I think what I may do is just use the red on the inside, or I may flip it around and use this black. I'm not really sure. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do an outside repair and also do an inside repair at the same time. And some of the smaller holes that you saw, I may just put some UV cure resin on it and call it good there. So this is what I came up with off camera. I cut this to a point because I thought when I stitch this down, if it's raining, the water would probably be less apt to get trapped and come down into the fabric if it's cut on an angle. And like I said, I may end up putting some either UV cure resin or some aqua seal on it. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to probably do one or the other. So that's my thought there. I figured the water would travel off better at an angle versus if it was completely flat. That's what we're going with right there. I think what I may start with is just a couple stitches to lock these corners down so they're relatively uniform. Hoping if I spend a little extra time and get the corners locked in good, that I'll be able to stitch it relatively quickly. I'll probably come, after I'm done stitching these, I'll probably come and cut them tags off. Alright, so we have all 5 corners tacked down, and I'm going to just try to do a running stitch as close as I can to the edge. And I don't mind if I miss a few on the inside. It's more the outside I'm really concerned about. I'm going to try my best to get as even of a stitch, but honestly I'm just going to kind of fly through it. If it's remotely close, I'm going to go with it. Really pays to make sure your panels are almost identical, because if these were off, this would be really quite a bit more challenging. And what I'm trying to do as I'm stitching along is I'm trying to pull down nice and tight on both panels. Send the stitch through, control my thread, and do the same thing coming back out. I'm not even going to try to go through this stitch here. It's too many layers of fabric, so we're just going to jump that. I have poked myself probably 20 times driving them needles in from the backside. So while I'm thinking about it, folks, if I were to do this over again, what I would do is I would make the inside patch maybe like an inch bigger, so I wouldn't have to worry about looking in every 5 seconds. This is going pretty smoothly, but I think if I would have made it a little bigger, it would have been a little easier to deal with here. All right, last stitch. All right, last stitch. Not bad. I'm gonna go in and tie that off. Just doing a couple overhand knots. Nothing fancy in here. All right, not bad. I mean, it's certainly not perfect. There's a few stitches that are kind of off at a diagonal, but I honestly don't care. So I'm running out of daylight, and I'm gonna try to get this one done because that's a pretty big hole. If we get any rain or snow, that's gonna come right in through that. So I'm gonna try to get this, and then I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do for a little bit of waterproofing. I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna do yet. And the second patch is done. I didn't film any of this one because I did it the exact same way as this one here. But they came out pretty good. I mean, they're not perfect, but adds character. We'll definitely keep majority of the elements out. And I think I'm gonna put a little bit of UV Cure resin up here. I think that's what I've decided I'm gonna do. So this is what I landed on for a seam sealer here. This is the Solarez UV Cure Flex Resin. I use this stuff all the time. I use it for projects like this. I use it on some of the fishing lures I make. I'm gonna just put a little bit of a bead along the edge here. I may go all the way down. And this stuff will cure with sunlight, so you don't need a light like this, but I'm gonna use a UV light. And it's actually starting to snow, which isn't ideal. The sun will be setting that way, so any UV light, or most of the UV light, will be coming from this way. So I should be good just to try to drop some of this on. And I'm almost out of this stuff. I use it so much. I'm going to try to keep the majority of it in the shack. I have a little paintbrush. And this stuff will almost cure instantly. So I'm just going to try my best to get this on, hoping it doesn't cure. Maybe trying to set up a little bit. I'm going to do this in a little smaller of amount, just in case this is trying to set up on me. Not ideal conditions for this. I'm not going to use the paintbrush. I'm going to use little amounts on this plastic here. I don't know how well this is showing, but I got a nice little bead up top going down the sides here. And I'm going to cure this with this UV light. I think it's already mostly cured, but I'm going to hit it with this UV light. And just like that, a couple seconds in, that's instantly cured. I specifically checked the weather for this project, and it was supposed to be 40 degrees, not snowing. This one I'm just trying to get the best I can. And this probably isn't showing all that well. A little bit of a tear there. That one doesn't go all the way through. So I'm just gonna put a glob of this on. Nothing fancy. This is just gonna be a glob patch, basically. I'm just doing like a final cure on this. I'm just making sure to like hover right over this glue to kind of do a final set. They all came out pretty good. I did this patch, this one. I did these two small holes. I did a small hole on my door. And we have some deer coming down our trail. I don't know if you can see them. Try to get my phone out. It's a mother and two fawns. So that's always pretty cool. You know, we're pretty fortunate up here in Maine. A lot of wildlife. You know, fixing my shack here, and deer come walking right down our snowmobile trail. And I can always put more resin on too. I did just a real thin line. I tried to get most of the stitching. Some of them I missed, but most of the water would come in through the seam. Just giving these a final cure here, and we'll be all done. All right, folks, we're all done with this. This is just about as cured as it's going to get with the light that I have. The next full sunny day, I'm going to pop this up, put these out in direct sunlight, and this will do its final cure. I would say this is probably like 98% cured, but still a little bit of tackiness. But for what I needed, this is going to work out fine. You also can use this Aqua Seal stuff. This is for sealing up waders. This was my initial route that I was going to do, but the wait times on this was like 8 to 10 hours or 12 hours or something like that. And this is actually a little big for our living room with our furniture, so I didn't have a good warm place to apply this Aqua Seal. But if you do this off season, this is a good option. This UV Cure resin, I've had nothing but phenomenal results with on other projects, so I'm pretty confident this is going to be a strong patch here. And that's basically it, folks. We're going to wrap the video up there. If you folks have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll try my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.